All right, we're going to begin this hour with startling new coronavirus numbers and a reported wrinkle in Pfizer's smoothly laid out vaccine plans. The U.S. surpassed 14 million confirmed cases yesterday, a day when there were more than 217,000 new cases and more than 276,000 people, fellow Americans alive on January 1st, have since died of the virus, with the highest daily death toll yesterday than we've had ever before.
Yeah, it's not good. According to the Wall Street Journal, Pfizer ran into a supply issue last month and had to cut in half the number of doses that it planned to distribute. The company still expects to roll out more than 1 billion doses worldwide in 2021. Vaccinations started in the UK this month. In a CBS News interview with Major Garrett yesterday, Dr. Anthony Fauci criticized that country's plans while also praising the FDA.
They really rushed through that approval. The FDA, the United States of America Food and Drug Administration, is the gold standard of regulation. They're doing it in a very careful way, appropriately.
In the meantime, President-elect Joe Biden now says he plans to ask all of us to wear a mask for his first 100 days in office. He also wants to require mask wearing in certain places like federal buildings.
Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett joins us to discuss his interview with Dr. Fauci and this week's political headlines. Major, good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Fauci has since walked back his comments to you about the UK rushing to approve a vaccine.
Right.
He told the BBC he has great faith in health officials there, but he clearly was concerned about it.
He was, and you can't walk back as definitive a statement as Dr. Fauci made to me, which is their process is different than ours. Ours is more rigorous. In Dr. Fauci's words, not mine, he said the Brits essentially looked at the Pfizer data from a press release and approved the vaccine. The Food and Drug Administration does not do that. It goes to the underlying data, scrutinizes everything before it gives emergency use authorization. And then I also asked him, I said, well, the head of the FDA has been brought to the White House twice this week by the chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Do you consider that to be overt political pressure? Dr. Fauci said no. It's about explaining the FDA process and getting White House backing of that. I said, would it help in that context for the White House to put out a statement saying exactly that? Dr. Fauci said it would. I guess we'll all wait for that.
Major, President-elect Biden has already made a point of asking Dr. Fauci to stay on as his chief medical advisor. How significant do you think that is?
It's important, and the most important thing that happened yesterday, revealed also on my show, is that yesterday, for the first time via Zoom, the transition landing team for President-elect Biden met with Dr. Fauci and all of his team. I said, how often do you expect those conversations to go on? He said, almost on a daily basis from now on in. I said, would you have preferred that those conversations have occurred and started sooner? He said, of course. Every transition that begins earlier is a better one, but we are where we are.
Let's talk about the president's baseless claims so far about widespread voter fraud. Even Attorney General Bill Barr said, well, that's not exactly the case. Is his job safe? It's not exactly reassuring when you're asked about it, and the president says, well, ask me in a few weeks.
Well, a few weeks is inauguration day,
Yes.
number one.
Yes.
Number two, the Senate and the House are trying to race through 3 enormous legislative priorities in about a week and a half. Is there going to be a stimulus bill to deal with COVID-19? Are we going to keep the government open and operating? Are we going to pass the National Defense Authorization Act? All 3 are very important. And you're seeing Republicans move away from the president's position on all 3 of those. That suggests they're already thinking about how to deal with the post-Trump reality, even though the president is not. And on that basis, also, Lindsey Graham, a staunch defender of the president, said yesterday, where's the evidence? Well, when Bill Barr and Lindsey Graham are walking away from you, President Trump, you know you have very few allies left in Washington, and you better start thinking differently about what you're asserting and trying to allege.
Yeah. Do you think Bill Barr's job is safe, Major?
It probably not as safe as it was a week ago, but what's the point? You're going to sack your attorney general, and then what? The Senate is going to confirm a new one? No. You're just leaving the attorney generalship vacant and the Department of Justice rudderless and leadershipless. Is that really the way you want to go out, Mr. President? I mean, it could happen. I'm not ruling it out. But what's the point? There really isn't a governing point whatsoever other than the president expressing his rage at someone who won't do precisely what he wants him to do, even though the job of the attorney general is to apply the law as it's written, not as the president wants it to be interpreted.
Major, meanwhile, the president's headed to Georgia tomorrow as he continues his claims of voter fraud. And there are a lot of concerns among Republicans that he may be suppressing the party's own vote there.
Right. He'll run up the vote in the rural areas where the Trump supporters believe he's onto something, but he could very likely suppress it in the suburban areas where the Republicans don't buy this assertion made over and over without any backing that there is something wrong in the way Georgia conducted its election. And that's a tension that is playing itself out there. It's got Republicans' attention here. They want the president to stop and give a unified message. Look, elect these two Republicans, back their agenda, I'm with them, and set aside his grievances about Georgia's election conduct. They will all wait to see what he does. What's the constant here? The president's at the center of the spotlight, where he always wants to be.
Major Garrett, thank you, Major.